Hi everyone, welcome back. Elden Ring is a game I've had conflicted feelings about, so join me as I give it one final playthrough to determine, do I hate Elden Ring? This video is part of a series, so if you haven't seen it yet, you'll want to start with the first part. As a reminder, I'll be using spirit summons, but I'll be avoiding Black Knife Tiche and Mimic Tear unless I am truly stuck. I'll also be avoiding commonly considered broken tools like Hoarfrost Stomp, Moonveil, and Comet Azure. The goal is to see if I enjoy how the game plays, not if I can make a build to trivialize it. Last time, we trekked through Caelid and defeated Radahn. We can finish Ranni's quest now, but I want to finish off Caelid first. More rot awaits us, so let's get started. I know there's a catacomb in the same area as Radahn, so I decided to look for it. My assumption is that the ruins point the way toward it, but that doesn't seem to be the case. For some reason. When you get close to the cliff, a red mist covers the cliffside, making it even harder to spot. I end up riding back and forth for a bit alongside the edge of the map, just trying to find the entrance. Honestly, this is Sekiro all over again. No symbols or markings on the map, so no luck there. I do eventually find it though. It's at the very end of the cliff towards the coast instead of by the actual ruins. For some reason. It's just kind of in the cliffside when it could have been part of the overworld. The War Dead Catacombs starts with a mass of spectral soldiers fighting each other. If you get anywhere near them, they'll track onto you instead, so I try to make a point to avoid them. Past them are a bunch of archers to deal with using Radahn's homing gravity arrows. They can be avoided, but if they lose sight of you, they'll start looking for you. I get caught trying to fight a soldier out of their way, and I am doing pitiful amounts of damage. Once the fight becomes 2-on-1, I try to just leave. That fails, and I die. When I try again, I attempt to just book it past all the encounters. If I'm doing this little damage, then getting stuck anywhere trying to fight is not going to lead to a successful run for me. I get a decent way in, but as I notice a knight aiming towards me, I try to duck into an alcove. I immediately stop trying to do that when I see what looks like a rot area guarded by 2 imp statues. And another knight spawns, of course. Obviously, I'm not falling for the imp, but even with a stagger and critical hit, the imp still isn't dead. By the time I do kill it, I've done nothing to protect myself from the knight, and my attacks move me forward and put me in the archer's path. I try to run through it again, but I'm tagged by a gravity arrow. It doesn't kill me. Then I just die. Nothing even hits me, I just keel over and die. Hard but fair, Well, I'm not doing tons of damage to begin with, and I'll probably be struggling even without the game outright cheating to kill me, so I'll just go elsewhere. I wander around the empty red main castle for a bit to see if I can pick up anything freely, but I think I got everything, so I head to the Round Table Hold to check if any of my equipment can be upgraded. I think about getting one of Radahn's weapons, but I would need 5 levels in Int or 4 levels in Dex to make use of either of them. The bow makes sense at least, but it feels weird that so many weapons have additional leveling requirements if you're expected to invest in vigor so heavily. Honestly, all the scaling around Caelid is weird. The scaling on Radahn's weapons aren't great either, so I'm not worried about getting them. I go to check what spirits I can upgrade, and Rodrika warns me about the Dung Eater on the other side of the hold. She can feel him from across the hold, so she doesn't need to move from her area. No luck with the spirit upgrades though. I don't have the item to upgrade the ones I use. The same is true for my equipment as well. I look for other things I can upgrade to have another set of useful weapons, but most either aren't appealing or require additional stat requirements I don't meet right now. It does bring up the question of what I should be investing in. My vigor will probably see me through Atlas Plateau, so it's a matter of finding what weapon I think will be interesting and speccing into that. I do wish there was a way to test out the moves before meeting the weapon requirements. There's not really a way to know if you want to use a weapon unless you already meet the requirements to use it. It's more of a problem in this phase of the game than it is towards the start or the end, but still, it would be nice. Radahn's defeat apparently moves Fia's questline forward, as talking to her gives me a dagger she asked to return to its owner. Who's the owner? Fia doesn't know, just that it belongs in the owner's heart. Ominous. The item description says it was once a special weapon of gold and silver. Thankfully, D is the one to give the dagger to, and he's right in the hold. So I give the dagger to him, but then I need to rest to actually move time forward. While I'm napping, Fia kills D. When I talk to her, she gives a warning to the Round Table to leave her alone, before she A-poses and fades away. I get D's armor set and his bell bearing. Since his armor set is better than mine, I equip it, but use the Royal Remain gauntlets to get a little of the healing aspect. Finally, I head to talk to the Dung Eater, who sits by a pile of corpses as a red invader phantom. Interesting. Anyway, back to Caelid. I head back to the Dragon Barrow Fork and travel towards the Minor Erd Tree. There's a cave nearby, so I decide to check it out. And of course, there's a massive rune bear in a tiny space that can cover most of the area with all of its attacks. Also, overhead attacks still ignore my shield, and that's as annoying as ever. A single swipe takes half of my stamina, and the follow-up kills me. Fantastic. I'm heading elsewhere. Elsewhere finds me fighting a dragon on a bridge. Latina seems like a good idea for this, as long as I can keep it from covering that part of the bridge with fire. I start on Torrent to make sure the dragon won't focus her down. Good positioning keeps me safe for the most part, but its slam rolls forward, hitting me. I have a nice dramatic moment of trying to dash between the fire and the edge of the bridge. Once I get close, I can get a few hits in, but I'm eventually knocked off Torrent. Despite the camera's best efforts, I still manage to dodge alright, give or take a tail swipe. Actually, landing hits is unfortunately a little less graceful. The dragon moves slightly and is suddenly out of reach, just by the nature of being so big. Eventually, I get a stagger on it and knock it down. Once it's at half health, it backs out of Latina's range, so I have to solo it for a bit. I'm able to do that without too much of a problem until it hops back into Latina's range. It hops back again pretty quick, but the extra damage is very helpful. Unfortunately, every time I'm clipped by a hit, it does so much damage that I have to heal immediately. Towards the end, I don't have any healing flasks left. The dragon tries to step on me, and I mistime the dodge since the attack is entirely off screen. Lock on, no lock on, doesn't matter. There will be problems. I have a sliver of health left, but so does the dragon. With a little luck, I'm able to defeat it. That thing was doing a lot of damage though, so when I head back to the Grace with a large chunk of runes, I put them all in Vigor. I hope that helps now, because by the end game it won't. I've been dancing around going back to the Putrid Avatar, so I steal my resolve and head towards the Minor Erd Tree again. I decide to start with Aurelia this time, so a few accidental hits won't kill. This is a poor decision on my part, because the Putrid Avatar starts slamming repeatedly, spraying Scarlet Rot everywhere, which my summon won't even try to avoid. Lion's Claw gets me a stagger, so I start relying on that when I can, because I can't rely on my jellyfish. Before long, Aurelia dies, and I'm on my own. I am able to get another stagger, but I have to run through the rot to activate the hit properly. A lot of this fight is me circling around the thing while it does one of two attacks. Slam and spray Scarlet Rot, or Holy Burst and summon projectiles. It's not particularly interesting, and it takes forever. I get a stagger, and right when I'm about to kill it, it slams down again, spraying rot up the hill. I can tell I won't be able to dodge it, so I try to block, which stagger locks me and I die. Next try, I use Latina, but set her up on top of the hill to try and keep her safe. I can't get close while the thing's attacking because of all the clutter around the arena. Latina can hit it just fine, so when it uses its projectile move, she takes all the hits and dies immediately. I focus on jump attacks to try and get more staggers on it, and it works for a bit. Circle left, jump attack, critical hit if I can. Occasionally I'll get hit. Its 1 foot stomp keeps hitting me, but it never kills me. What does kill me is when it sprays Scarlet Rot while I try to heal. I pick the wrong direction to run to get out of the AoE, and I die. A single tick of Rot takes out 1/8 of my health before the Rot is even applied. My only choice is to not get hit at all. Trying again with Latina, but I put her a little further back this time. My overall strategy remains unchanged. Circle around and jump attack. The only thing that is making this boss difficult is the numbers. Its numbers are bigger than my numbers, so this is an uphill battle. Speaking of hills, being on a hill makes me miss a jump attack. I almost get it down, but I miss time a dodge and 2 attacks kill me. The following attempt doesn't go much better. The step knocks me over, I heal at the wrong time, and my rhythm is just lost from there. What's frustrating is there's no point in changing my strategy. It works, I'm just not allowed to make mistakes. Circle strafe, jump attack. Circle strafe, jump attack. Circle strafe, jump attack, circle strafe, jump attack. Eventually, the critical hits kill it. I get over 90,000 runes from this. I am obviously underleveled for this area, but we'll talk about that at the end of this video. For now, I just put all my runes into Vigor, then head to my last stop in the area, the tower to activate Radahn's Great Rune. I'm really bad at using these, but I should have at least one if I need help. The tower's interesting. You can't just go in. You have to travel along a tree route and go around the outside, climbing around the ledges of the stonework, and ladders that sentries placed to protect the tower, I think? Moments like these feel very much along the lines that An Orlando did, where you are this small creature climbing monuments to gods. It's not quite as visually compelling as An Orlando, but it's still neat. The enemies outside the tower are pretty basic, or they would be if my attacks didn't just blatantly miss. I'll just be grateful that there aren't any ranged enemies to be worried about. There aren't many enemies to begin with. Most of the danger is the small ledge you have to navigate. Once you're through, you have two paths you can take. I ascend first to activate Radahn's rune, since there's nothing to fight through that way. Back by the Grace, I equip the rune and start heading down the tower. There's a door that blocks the camera, so obviously there's going to be something to attack me around the corner where I can't see. And I'm immediately proven right. I'm forced to back into the hallway, which isn't great for me. I get a stagger in, but for some reason the game doesn't give me the critical before the other enemy throws a fire pot on me. Thankfully, the enemies only attack roughly one at a time. I'm still annoyed that my attacks keep missing, though. I try to be clever and take the one I damaged out first. Needless to say, it doesn't work, and I hit a wall. Next attempt, I try to bait the first one out with magic. It doesn't quite work the way I would like, but I'm still able to take him out first. I'm finally able to get out of the corridor to fight the second one. I'm able to get a backstab in and knock him down. Then, despite him fully standing, he still has iframes from getting up, so my next attack just phases right through him. Wonderful. It's fine, he only had a little health left anyway. Then it's time for platforming. Obviously I failed the first attempt. No reason to pick a fight again, except they follow you down if you're not quick. In my rush to get away from them, I slip right off the platform for the next jump and fall to my death. The third attempt goes better as I inch forward, and then I jump right over the platform I need to land on. I'm glad that we have a jump button now, but these moments have never been highlights of From's Souls-likes. And of course, they put a guy with a tower shield on these narrow platforms. I just run past him to get to the elevator. The fight on the other side is in another tight area. I open with magic to take out a chunk of his health, and then make vigorous use of my Lion's Claw Ash of War. Even when I run out of mana, it keeps him on the ground and away from attacking me. With him out of the way, I can open the way back to the Grace, and then it's back to descending the tower. At the bottom of the tower is another of those monks, who I'm not dealing with today, and a Godskin Apostle. I summon Aurelia as soon as I can and just narrowly avoid a fireball to the face. The Apostle's staff poke comes out so fast and it does so much damage, I just know it's going to be a problem move. Then there's the fire attacks that do damage even if I block. Well, I'm just gonna do my best and come back later if I can't beat it. Not only is the staff poke fast, but he has a move that puts a lot of distance between us. Because every boss does. I shouldn't even be surprised. I'm burning through healing potions trying to get in the rhythm of the fight, but once I get him to his second phase, I'm hit with his AoE. I hold on a little longer past that, but I don't have any health to work with. He uses that sweep again, and that's the end of the fight. The second try, I just run through the fog gate, and I still get hit by the NPC outside of it. I summon Latenna to hopefully add some damage, but she spends the first minute of the fight firing at the fog. I'm pretty sure one of my attacks just goes right through the Apostle as he leaps into the air. I guess we're just letting bosses cheat now. Latenna works so much better than Aurelia did, but the Apostle still spends a large amount of time up against walls. I still get him down further than I did before, but he has another large AoE that staggers me, preventing me from getting away, and kills me from near full health. My fault for trying to block it. I need to just focus on running from it. Next attempt, and I at least don't get hit through the fog door, but Latina still unhelpfully fires at it for a bit. I can't keep the Apostle off Latina. Every time she takes aggro, the Apostle throws out a fireball and I can't take the aggro back before she eats a hit. I'm at least able to survive the AoE, but it covers half the arena. I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with this other than just trying to heal through it. Doesn't matter, I die soon after. I try using the wolves on the next attempt. Been a while since I've used them. They helpfully start the fight by running into the fog wall and dying, because the enemy outside can still attack through it. This fight's basically a bust. I stop healing entirely and just see how long I can last. If I can get the Apostle halfway down, maybe that would be something, but no good. The next time I run towards them before summoning to get away from the fog wall and eat a fireball for my trouble. When I do summon the wolves, 2 of them are hit as they spawn. I haven't upgraded them as much as the others, but I'm hoping for numbers to make up the difference. It seems like it may work, but the Apostle ends up against a wall, making dodging way more of a pain than it needs to be. I just cannot get the timing down for this one sweep attack. For the next try, I summon the Ancestral Follower Ashes, which hasn't been upgraded at all. I'm clearly grasping at straws now. I'm at least able to escape the opening attacks, then a combination of 2 attacks kills me. The next attempt opens with the same strategy, but I put the Ancestral Follower on the other side of the room this time, and begin attacking by kiting with magic. I'm able to get him to half health. I'm even able to evade his massive AoE this time. More than once! Unfortunately, I get caught up in his spinning staff, and that's the end of this round. For the next one, I try the Skeletal Militiaman, hoping for the Resurrection ability to be useful. It kind of works. It at least buys me some time to heal occasionally, until I get caught in the staff spin again because I was on the wrong side of it. It seemed like the militiamen were working, so I tried them again. Like a fool, I summon them by the door and they do nothing. I let the Apostle kill me to try for a better start. I give it another couple of tries, but I can't do it. At my level, I can barely get the Apostle to half health. I plan to come back and deal with him later, but for now, this area isn't going to end on a victory for me. This area is also a good example of why I'm not giving my feelings on the game immediately after playing or while I'm playing. Moving through this area was incredibly frustrating for me, but it was largely my fault for continuing in the area while being so underleveled. I should have gone through one round with a putrid avatar and turned around. Maybe I would come back later, but that's my real issue here. There's not a lot that's interesting in Dragon Barrow. Most of it is just fights that can be found elsewhere. There is the exception of the large dragon that you're supposed to kill by defeating the little dragons around it, but most people just poison it instead. This is where the Bestial Sanctum is, but you're likely to find the Sending Gate for it very early on. And of course, there's the Divine Tower, which I think is supposed to encourage a second comb through the map to boost yourself before the endgame after you find your first one. There's just not a real tell for when to start looking for them. You may find one early in Limgrave, or Ronnie's in Liurnia, but with Ronnie's you won't be able to reach the top until after you've killed Radahn. It's just hard to know when to start looking for them because it's not quite as simple as just beating the boss of the area. Ronnie's is at least attached to her quest, so I imagine you'd want to start looking for the others after that. Which, for Northern Caelid, means turning around and coming back after that too, instead of just going there after Radahn. The problem with that, and really my problem with the area in general, is that it just boils down to numbers. What you find in Dragon Barrow isn't very distinct from the rest of Caelid, or even just the rest of the areas you've been to so far. There's nothing in the design to signal the sudden spike in difficulty that you're about to face, or signal when it would be a good idea to come back. Compare the difference from any part of Caelid to Liurnia against the difference between the two parts of Caelid. Having the legacy dungeons helps to set them apart, but even outside of that, the other parts of the map have interesting environments that stand out even within the areas. Dragon Barrow looks and feels just like the rest of Caelid. The enemies hit harder and take less damage, but they feel like the same enemies when you fight them. Ah well, I'm less frustrated with the area now that there's been some distance from it. But I still can't say I enjoyed it much. This one's going down as a negative for me. Next time, we're going to start on Ronnie's quest for real and head to Nokron. I remember enjoying this a lot on past playthroughs, so I'm optimistic. Thanks again for watching my video. What did you think of Caelid's northern half? Was it more difficult than you were expecting? Did you push through anyway? Was this your introduction to the Godskin Apostle, or did you find him elsewhere? Let me know in the comments. Remember to subscribe to be updated when I release a new video. If you want to support the making of these videos and other video game critiques, check out my Patreon. All my videos are put up on Patreon ad-free, and $10 patrons will get a shout out at the end of the next video. See you all next time!